Boom! What's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and welcome back to the channel. In this quick video, I simply want to talk to you guys about why I believe Nvidia's upcoming earnings call on August 23rd, which is this Wednesday, if you're watching this before the call. If you're watching it after, you'll know whether I'm right or wrong. But anyway, why Nvidia's earnings call will reignite the fire underneath the AI stock hype cycle. Okay, so to kick off the video, we'll read over the CNBC Pro article talking about why Nvidia popped, I believe, over 8% today. Yeah, so almost a total of over 9%, including after hours price action. But we'll talk about all of the analyst upgrades that this stock got prior to its earnings call. We'll talk about the pros and cons of these upgrades and why the bar may be getting set too high. But at the same time, there's a reason that all these analysts are upgrading the stock, and maybe the bar should be set high. And even if the bar is set high, there is still room for Nvidia to impress. So we'll just kick off the video with that. I'll give you guys my 2 cents on why I still believe we haven't seen the real wave 2 in AI stocks, specifically C3 AI Inc., which is going to be the focus of this video. And I do want to run over a few different price scenarios for C3 that I imagine potentially playing out in the wake of this Nvidia earnings call. So we'll talk price, we'll talk technicals after we discuss this article, and to complement AI on the charts here, and really just kind of touch further on our two-wave pattern, our Waves Capital coined two-wave pattern. I do want to bring up Riot's chart from back in 2021, because this is about as textbook as a classic two-wave pattern gets in my eyes. Again, over the years, traded crypto multiple times over multiple cycles, traded cannabis, traded biotech stocks like during COVID and stuff. And there are very similar patterns to these hype cycles, to these two-wave patterns, which is really why I chose to kind of create this pattern. All right. So we'll talk about what a standard two-wave looks like. Of course, just because history may rhyme, it doesn't mean it's going to repeat itself. There are always macro factors and under the surface factors that could differentiate the cleanliness, I'll say, of these two-wave patterns. But I do believe something like this will come, and I'll just talk more about that as we dive into the charts, all right? So that's the video, you guys. Before we get to reading, if you want my daily take on the markets every single trading day, if you want my daily newsletters, this is the example of this morning's talking to Nvidia, talking about how it's going to relight that fire. And this is, again, every trading day. If you want my daily take on the markets, if you want also, of course, to know how I'm trading my personal portfolio on a daily basis, then that's going to be the first link in the description box down below. My complete portfolio daily newsletter. As I just mentioned, you get my daily newsletters, daily trade alert newsletter, daily price targets newsletter, where we take a look at charts. And really, I just discuss all of the names that we've been talking about forever on this channel, just on a more frequent basis. Okay. So this is what I love to do. That's why I have a 7-day free trial. And I recommend you give that free trial a shot. You could always just sign up, $15 a month or $40 for every 3 months. But again, the reason I have a free trial there is because I'm confident in the product I provide. And I recommend you guys try that out first and just unsubscribe if you don't like it. But if you are interested in joining, welcome to the winning team. And as always, if you have been riding the waves with me, if you're a member of Waves Capital, please let me know in the comments down below, or share your experience, good or bad, in the comments down below, just so prospective members have an idea of what they may be getting into. Okay, so always appreciate that. That said, let's get into the video talk. HSBC hikes Nvidia price target ahead of earnings, sees 80% upside. Again, Nvidia absolutely ripping today, up 8.5% normal trading, up 0.6% in after hours. It's a crazy day for a $1 trillion company. What's Nvidia's market cap right now? Do they have it right here? I'll look at it right after this. But Nvidia, I believe, is now $1 trillion. I believe it has that T by its market cap. So I'll confirm that after this. But HSBC thinks Nvidia still has more room to run. Analysts frankly raised its price target on the stock to $780 from $600. Lee's forecast implies a more than 80% upside from Friday's $432 close. He also reiterated a buy rating on the semiconductor company. Nvidia has been the stock to watch all year, gaining more than 196% thanks to excitement around artificial intelligence. Lee thinks that the trend will carry on. Although this is his quote, although market expectations have clearly risen for Nvidia and the overall AI supply chain, we expect bullish AI server momentum continue to surpass market expectations. I don't know if that was phrased correctly, but he said in a note, we continue to see strong demand that continues to outpace supply, especially with regard to AI GPU shipments. The company will report second quarter results on Wednesday after the bell. Lee thinks Nvidia will once again beat Wall Street expectations. So, again, the danger of setting high expectations is, of course, that it leaves more room for failure. Okay, when the bar is set high, that bar is harder to jump over. That bar is harder to clear. Okay, so with all of these analyst expectations, Nvidia absolutely crushing it. Let's just take a quick look at, I don't really track Nvidia technically wise, but if we just look at Nvidia and its performance, it's about to scratch to a new all-time high. Let's just take a look at it on daily candles real quick. If we just take a look at Nvidia and how the stock has performed since January of this year, it's pretty bonkers. And right here, yeah, it's way over that $1 trillion point. It's at $1.16 trillion in market cap after today's close. So it's an extra 160 billion. Just that 0.16T is $160 billion market cap, just to put things into perspective a little bit. So this stock has been ripping. This stock is, a new member of what once was the FANG. I think they call it the Magnificent Seven now. But this stock is one of the largest stocks in the world. It has been on an absolute rampage over the course of 2023, which is even more impressive considering it's such a massive company. And again, the bar is set high, but hey, it's probably set high for a reason. Okay, there will always be incentives taking place here. AI, for example, obviously, I'm heavily invested in AI. I'm optimistic about C3 AI Inc. and its performance over the coming months. So keep that in mind. I'm definitely biased towards the upside. I want this stock to win. So you have to keep that in mind about other stocks as well, even like these bank analysts. They're just people. It's their job to do this, but they're people, and they're obviously HSBC is going to have a massive position on the stock, right? So you got to keep that in mind. But that's this, you guys. Again, Nvidia is, I would say, the poster child, as far as mega caps are concerned, for sure, the poster child of this growing AI trend of the AI business. They take advantage of kind of the old analogy of when there's a gold rush, you don't mine for the gold, you build the shovels. They're building AI GPUs, which are in critically high demand, and that's why the stock has benefited so heavily. Okay, so again, Nvidia, as far as large caps are concerned, is the poster child of AI, but the darling of the AI sector and the first play that we really established in the portfolio. Again, December of 2022 is when we first established these positions. And as I said here, if you guys have been riding with me for the better part of this year, or definitely since those early days, you know how meaningful and how game-changing this stock has been for our portfolio and the performance of the Waves portfolio. So this is the darling of not only our portfolio, but of the AI sector overall, not simply for the reason it's performing well, but the main reason I immediately took on a position in this when I saw the AI trend developing, once again, back in December of last year, it's crazy, it's almost a year ago now, was the fact that it has the ticker symbol AI. Sometimes it's the most obvious scenario that turns out to be the effective scenario, okay? It's the most, sometimes the most, what is that, Occam's razor? The most obvious solution tends to be the one that works, okay? That's why I chose to take on AI. Thankfully, the company themselves have been performing impressively. They're actually growing at a fundamentally impressive clip. And I do think that when they announce earnings on August 31st, they'll impress as well. So let's hope that Nvidia initially sparks that excitement behind the AI sector. If Nvidia crushes earnings, I can guarantee that C3 will be a beneficiary of that, will benefit from just the overall hype in the AI sector. And that will beautifully segue into their earnings report on the 31st, which if they beat there, could lead to that second wave that I expect. So I'll just quickly cover this, you guys. I know it looks a little weird because I'll go here and bring it up because it looks a little more digestible. Okay, so as you can see here, this is right back in 2021. C3 AI has done extremely well this year, but it hasn't done this well. And from all the two waves, again, whether it's cannabis, whether it's a play like Moderna that we played in 2020, or plays like Riot back in 2021 when kind of everything looked like this, but this was a very clean example of that because Riot actually did it before most stocks did. And this is what a two-wave or a wave two with a second wave of a two-wave pattern should really look like in my eyes. An appreciation from the base. After that, again, you see the first wave right here, still very impressive. If we just look generally at this, went from when we started talking about it like $1, to up to $30. Whereas it's like $10 here in December of 2021, and then it raised to about $30 in the weeks that followed that. Correct a little bit. I mean, again, this doesn't look impressive relative to this rally right here, but this is still a lot of price action that's going on here, a lot of volatility, although it doesn't look like it on this chart, right? So again, you see that first meaningful rally. You see investors start to get excited. You see that correction and then kind of the lull. And then you get that spark, that catalyst, which once again, I don't know for a fact that this is going to happen. Nothing is ever guaranteed, but no, my money's on this. I do think that these Nvidia earnings and C3's earnings, they're just consecutive earnings reports like a week apart from each other. I do think that is that fundamental spark, that is that fundamental catalyst that we do need to really engage this second wave. Okay, so just to show you guys a general example, again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does tend to rhyme. For example, wave two on Riot from this kind of low right here, this base, this plateau prior to really starting to go parabolic once again, was a gain of about 230%. So it went from, right here, again, like $22 or something, up to just under $80 in a span of 9 days. So keep that in mind, you guys, as well. If we do see a classic wave two pattern play out for C3 AI, it's going to last about 9 to 10 days. I've seen the most. It's typically no longer than 2 weeks. In my experience, I haven't seen one of these parabolic rallies last longer than 2 weeks. Okay, so keep that in mind, you guys. If you are trading AI, if you're holding AI, and we do see things go parabolic, I would actually say time is more relevant than percentage gain, just because, again, when that second wave kicks in, it's mania, it's psychology, it's not fundamentals. That's the reality of these two-wave patterns. These are hype cycles, and they're called hype cycles because they are fueled by hype and mania and emotion. Okay, I want to make that very clear. This is, if C3 goes up to $100, $200, you should probably sell because it's probably going to come back down to 40, 50 in the span or in like the month that follows. Okay, and that's just the nature of hype cycles. That's the nature of these two-wave patterns. But that's also the beauty of them if you understand them. Okay, so just keep that in mind, you guys. Just keep a cool head on your shoulders if things start to get hot. And again, let's talk C3 and some potential scenarios that will play out if all goes accordingly once again. Okay, so C3 AI has been in a very, very meaningful downtrend for, until today, until these past two sessions, I should say, C3 has been in a downtrend really pretty nonstop since August 4th. If you guys are part of, once again, the portfolio, you would know that I bought a pretty meaningful amount of calls, more calls, I should say. I reinforced my call position last week when we were hitting these lows because we were getting extremely oversold, not just in C3, but in the entirety of the markets. If you can see where my cursor is, kind of right there, then you can see the RSI. And 4-hour RSI is usually one of the indicators that one of my favorite technical indicators. Over the years, I've cycled through a lot. I do like RSI and stochastic RSI, and specifically 4 hours. You'll see a lot that I use 4-hour candles because, in my opinion, that's been the most effective candle when trying to determine or choreograph. Might not be the right word, or like trying to anticipate what's going to happen over the medium term. Looking for a better word there, couldn't find one. Trying to anticipate what's going to happen over the medium term. Okay, so 4-hour candles. Obviously, you get 4-hour RSI or RSI relative strength index metrics with whichever candle you're using. So 4-hour RSI was for C3 just this past week, last week, at levels not seen since you can see back here in like April of this year when we saw this massive sell-off. So whenever RSI dips below this dashed line right here, you can see it's typically a very good time to buy. Okay, and that's like almost, you could go off that single indicator when it comes to swing trading. If you just look at RSI and just wait for, if you're just like super passive on the markets, don't want to risk much capital, it's always going to be a risk. But the risk profile, the asymmetric risk profile of taking on a long trade or a swing trade to the upside when RSI is below these dash line levels, especially on the 4-hour, from a 4-hour perspective, you can get a very, very good swing trade in that scenario. I'll say like 90+% of the time. Okay. So regardless, C3 was oversold. Thankfully, just a couple sessions ago, once again, at the time of recording, if you're watching it later, I will go over some longer term scenarios. I'll go to September 15th is really kind of where I'm setting the time horizon here. But anyway, short term, C3 AI did break above the line of short-term resistance that was in place since, once again, this high on August 4th. So again, in that downtrend for like 2 to 3 weeks, just broke out of that last week. And right now we are in technical breakout mode. So from here, again, some takeaway information as far, or takeaway like playable information, to your own research, not financial advice, whatever. Some playable information as far as the short term is concerned. I do think C3 AI will come up, at least from a technical perspective, to test this line of broken support on this, ascending channel, but a very conservative ascending channel. So again, you can see this line of support was in play. Once C3 broke below this, that's when the sell-off really, really kicked off, because this critical line of broken support was in play. Now that we've broken short-term resistance, I think we'll come up to retest previous medium-term support, I'll say, as new resistance, and that will be my short-term price target. And honestly, if I was swing trading this, which I am, I do plan on taking, obviously not my entire position on the table, but I do plan on taking some profits once this line is tested. I do think it's entirely possible that we come up to test the line of overall resistance or longer term resistance dating back to C3's 2023 high on June 15th. So touch point here, creating a very, very clear line of resistance. You could even say that we have like a descending channel going here right now. We'll call this the line of support that was just created with this low from a few sessions ago. And, from support, you start the climb back up to resistance. I think that's entirely possible as well. And that's where I'd also be looking to take some profits in the case that you were trading this into earnings. Because again, if we rally into earnings, that will set the bar significantly higher for the results of their earnings report. And, the higher, as we said in the beginning of this video, the higher expectations are, the more difficult those expectations are to live up to. Okay. The higher the bar is set, the harder it is to jump over that bar. Okay. So just be wary, you guys, if we rally into earnings on the 31st, which, fingers crossed, money's on that. Please look to take some off the table, look to play with house money, look to just, if you got in down here, you're going to make a very, very pretty penny if we end up coming up to test this line of resistance. So please be looking to take at least a little bit of profits if that's to happen going into earnings. But hey, if you're bullish on earnings like I am, you should definitely leave some on the table in the case that C3 impresses and sees that classic two-wave pattern that we just discussed on Riot. Okay, so stay sharp, you guys. Please let me know in the comments down below what you're excited about in the market right now. If you're invested in Nvidia, if so, if you got some calls on Nvidia, those things are going to be expensive. But if so, congrats. And let me know what you guys think about AI and just, whatever you want to talk about. I'll see you in the comments downstairs. Last off, come ride with me. Come join Waves Capital. Look forward to seeing you guys in there. Once again, first link in the description. And for you existing members, I appreciate you. I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, always remember, take action. Make waves. Peace.